So I think people out there who wants to buy a Venge, there's no difference between the Specialized and the S-Works. If you're just looking at the frame.
Frame-wise, there's no difference except the bottom bracket.
Yeah, which you could just easily swap out. I swapped out mine. So I have the S-Works version. That's because I couldn't find a Specialized one. And I have to thank you because you bought me spacers that I couldn't get in Singapore. I don't know why. Does it come with the frame? I don't know. Nobody's selling that.
So when you got your frame, was it brand new?
No, secondhand.
Okay, so the previous owner never gave you the...
Well, he promised to send it to me, which he didn't.
Oh, okay.
You have this device on the valve. You said it is a tire pressure monitor.
Yeah, it's made by Quark. It's called Tire Whiz. And again, the reason why I had them there is because initially when I got these MV, and when I tried to set up as tubeless, and I was like losing air pretty quickly. The pedals require routine maintenance. You need to get some kind of grease gun to replace the grease in the pedal.
So that it can rotate smoothly, is it?
So that it doesn't spin too quickly.
Oh,
when there isn't enough grease in there, if you spin the pedal, it will just go on for several revolutions before it stops. Yeah. So if you have enough good grease in there, it should not spin more than a revolution. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I always like to tell people that's a countdown to the show.
Okay.
So you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, let's go. Changren, welcome to Singapore and Upper Boon Keng.
Thank you very much.
All the way from United States, Seattle, right?
That's right, Seattle.
All right, tell us what brings you here to Singapore?
My parents actually live in JB, and so before COVID, I used to visit them like at least once a year. And yeah, thanks to COVID, I hadn't seen them for 3 years, so I decided to take a month of vacation just to hang out with them.
All right.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Singapore already?
So this trip, probably 3 days. Yeah, 3 days.
Okay. And you've been telling me you rode in JB also, right?
Yeah.
Tell us more about riding cultures in Singapore, JB, and especially in the United States.
All right. So I haven't met with any local cycling group in JB yet, so I can't really speak of what the cycling culture is there. But I do know the cycling infrastructure there is pretty much non-existent. There's no cycling path. I haven't seen one. And a lot of time you're running on pretty narrow streets with a lot of potholes. So not the best roads for cyclists.
Yeah. And so, Singapore, you did a bit of TMCR, my favorite place.
Yeah, I just experienced that this morning.
Okay.
That was pretty good. This is not my first time riding in Singapore. I rode in Singapore at least twice more. It was like 2019 and then probably another time before then. And I don't remember seeing that many road cyclists. I was here and I did, I think, Faber, is it Mount Faber?
Mount Faber.
And I do see cyclists doing the climbs. But other than that, I really, at least, okay, I need to say that because people here ride pretty early in the morning. Like they start their ride like 4:30 or 5, right? Just to, stay away from the traffic.
And the sun.
Yeah, and the sun, yeah, obviously. Yeah, so perhaps I missed those groups, but this morning when I rode the TMCR, I've seen so many large groups of road cyclists. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It makes me pretty happy to see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think maybe part of that is because a lot of them are like COVID cyclists. But I hope they stay cycling.
Yeah.
After a while.
And how's it in the US? You mentioned that we wake up really early at 4 a.m. to cycle. Do you not wake up early to cycle?
I don't. Even in Seattle, I wake up. I try to wake up later because if I wake up too early, it's kind of cold. So I wait till temperature is like above 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
60,
it's probably like 15 degrees Celsius or something. Yeah. Then I will go, right? If it's below 60, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I like to ride in my short sleeve, like summer kit, and I don't like to wear a long sleeve jersey.
Yeah. And is it very long rides that you guys do, or it's just like crits, or it's obviously both?
Yeah, so I started road racing in 2015, and before that I did like a couple of seasons in cyclocross. And so in 2015 I joined the Audi cycling team. Well, Audi was the previous sponsor, and the team is actually called Creaking Sports. And so I started road racing in 2015, and in the Washington state, most of the road races are either road race or criterium, and then we have like a couple of circuit race, and so that's what I did. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And how did cycling start for you?
Road cycling?
Road cycling first.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think like 2011, my wife proposed that we do a cycling tour of Tuscany because a couple of her coworkers are going, right? And I didn't know her coworker all that well, so I was like, no, I don't feel like going. But eventually she convinced me, and so we flew to Tuscany, and we spent, I think, about a week road riding, and I got hooked. Okay, and then we came back, watched the Tour de France, and I think the American team was Cervelo. Is it a Cervelo team? Yeah, I think something Cervelo in one form or another, and I got their kit. Then I got a Cervelo, the lowest end Cervelo carbon frame bike. I think it was Cervelo RS.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that's how I got started.
So you've been cycling for about 10 years?
Yeah, probably 11.
So it all started from the trip to Tuscany?
Yeah, it all started from a Tuscany trip.
And it was a road bike?
It was a hybrid.
Hybrid?
Yeah, it was like a flat bar. It wasn't a drop bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
And after that, from there, you got hooked onto it. What bikes do you own?
So the first bike was Cervelo RS, and that developed looks like a fracture within half a year. And then Cervelo gave me a warranty replacement, exact same frame, right? And then that had a problem, and I don't remember which fracture that was. But I think sometimes you see a little fracture here. It could be just the paint, but they were not taking any chances, right? So they gave me a different bike because they ran out of RS in the inventory, and they were no longer selling it. So they gave me a Cervelo R3 as a warranty replacement, and that had a problem after a few months. I kid you not. Then they gave me a Cervelo R3 Team. That's even a higher end model. Yeah, but so after that, after my experience with all these warranty replacements, I got a little bit tired. So I sold that bike, and I got the Specialized S-Works Tarmac SL5.
Right.
So that was 2015. Yeah.
And then onto this one.
That was 2019, April.
Okay. Wow. And what bikes are popular in the US? What bikes do people normally get? Is it all Specialized Trek? I mean, these are all American brands.
Yeah, pretty much all you can think of, like Specialized, Trek, Cannondale, even BMC is pretty popular as well. Scott, Pinarello.
Yeah.
All of them.
All right.
Yeah.
And are they mostly already on disc brakes, or are they still on rim? Because in Singapore, a lot of people are already on disc, I would say. So you don't really see that many. I'm probably not. I don't have the statistics right, but most of the bikes that I see on the roads now are already disc.
That's the thing, right? If you're a newer cyclist, if you get a bike now, chances are good that it's going to be a disc. But a lot of cyclists in Seattle, they've been cycling for years, so they own like rim brake bikes. Okay, and there are people who own rim and disc. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
And Specialized, you got the SL5.
Yeah.
From Cervelo, what made you buy a Specialized bike?
Well, Specialized was one of the sponsors for the team.
Okay.
So I do get a discount when I purchase from the team shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about the team that you ride for. It's called Creaking, and then you said there's Audi and stuff like that.
Yeah. So Creaking Sports is the owner is an Australian guy, Mike Hone, and he created a team. I think he called it Creaking Sports. And so the main sponsor back then was Audi of Bellevue, which is a local Audi dealership. So they had sponsored the team for 9 years. And they decided not to sponsor the team this year. And so,
is it because you guys were not performing?
No, I don't know. I don't know the reason. Okay, I don't deal with these kind of sponsorship topics. Yeah, so the Zevenbergen became the main sponsor this year. So the team was actually instead of Audi, is like Zevenbergen. Yeah. This is like a financial planning, like investment company. And so next year, fortunately here, Mike found another title sponsor. It's going to be Mercedes-Benz.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Of the local dealership as well.
And you off camera before we started filming, you used the terms you were signed or you signed on onto this team, which sounds like a very serious term. You guys get paid?
No, man.
How does it work?
No, we're all just amateurs trying to look pro, right? So we don't get paid.
Yeah.
We pay for all our equipment. We pay for our kit. So we pay for everything, but we do get a discount because of sponsors. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's nothing is free.
Right.
Nothing is free. But I don't know. I think there were a few professional riders who used to join the team. I don't know if they paid for their own kit. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a lot of questions for you.
Okay.
So let's talk about the bike.
Yeah.
You, as people can see, look at the contrasting height difference. I look like a midget again next to him. Changren stands at 189.
Yeah, probably close to 190.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is a Specialized Venge Pro. What's the size? 60 something?
This is a 58 centimeter.
58. Tell us more about your bike and the components, and also why this bike in particular.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I bought this bike stock. It's a 2019 Venge Pro, and I didn't go for the S-Works because I really like the oil slick Specialized logo on a down tube, and then I know of the fact that it's exactly the same frame as the S-Works. The only difference is the S-Works model, they use the ceramic bearing in a bottom bracket. So everything else is the same. And, well, of course, if you're buying a stock bike, the rims are different as well. So these come with the CL50, and I think the S-Works Venge comes with back then CLX50. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, or I had the question, like, why would somebody buy a S-Works frame? I'm just talking about the Venge, as compared to the Specialized, since they're both Type 11R, right? So I think the difference is the
logo, the S-Works, right?
Yeah, that's going to cost you another $2,000 or $3,000 more. But I think it's because of the complete bike, right? The Venge comes with different group sets and components as compared to the S-Works. So that's the only difference, I think.
Yeah, it's because the S-Works, if you're buying a stock complete bike, you're not just a frame, right? A complete bike. It comes with Dura-Ace 11-speed Di2.
Yeah.
Okay, or I'm not sure. It's possible it came with the SRAM 11-speed wireless group set as well, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. So I think people out there who wants to buy a Venge, there's no difference between the Specialized and the S-Works. If you're just looking at the frame.
Frame-wise, there's no difference except the bottom bracket.
Yeah, which you could just easily swap out. I swapped out mine. So I have the S-Works version. That's because I couldn't find a Specialized one. And I had a creaking bottom bracket. Did you have that issue?
Not yet.
Okay. I had a creaking bottom bracket, which I've talked about in my previous episodes. What I did, I spoke to a few people, right? So the first remedy that I did was I added Loctite.
Okay.
I removed the BB, I put Loctite.
Yeah.
Put it back in, but you're still creaking.
The blue Loctite?
Yeah, I think so. And then, no, it's a red bottle.
Okay.
Yeah, and then someone suggested, why don't you try a token BB or a one-piece bottom bracket, like either the Hambini one or the other BB Infinite from the US, right? I went for BB Infinite and it solved my problem.
Okay.
So is yours a one piece or it's just like a normal press fit?
You know, I'm not sure because when I got the bike, I also requested a bike shop replace the cranks with, you can see it's a Quack D491 power meter. So it's possible they may have replaced the bottom bracket to fit this I think this is a BB30. Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure. I don't know whether it's the stock factory bottom bracket or they replaced the bearings with something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so coming back to the question, why the Venge from the SL5?
Why?
Yeah. Why not any other brands or other models, a Track Madone, for example?
You know, again, because Specialized is
team sponsor.
Is still they are sponsored. They are still a sponsor. So we do get like discounted frames. I bought this a complete bike. I do love the look of the Venge Pro when it came out. Yeah, I don't really care too much about the aero aspect of it. I think for me, most of those are just mainly marketing talk, and yeah. So
SL7, would you consider that?
It wasn't out when I bought this bike.
After this bike, will you think of getting the SL7?
I thought about it, but I like this bike. It was riding fine, so I didn't want to have another bike, and my garage is completely full. I just cannot put another bike in the garage now, okay? Because my wife has 2 bikes and I have like 3 bikes, so it is full.
What bike does your wife ride?
She rides a commuter bike.
Okay.
And then she has a custom-made 7 titanium bike.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which unfortunately, she rarely rides. So it's just like hanging on a wall. It's like an ornament.
Okay. If you could run us through everything else you have on this, maybe from the bars all the way to the back.
Sure. So let me see. This tape looks kind of worn, right? This was actually the original tape that came with the bike, but I only recently installed them. I actually had Supercast super sticky Kush, or whatever it's called. Yeah, I had them up, but I only replaced them recently. And so, should I just sit down? Should I go?
It's up to you. If you want to stand up, I'll probably shoot the B-rolls when you're talking, so it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I have the Bontrager flare headlight, which is N+, and that's paired with a Garmin Varia radar. I think it's one of the most innovative design in cycling in recent years. I mean, once you start riding with one, when you ride without one, it feels like kind of naked. Okay, that's how I feel when I ride without my radar. Yeah.
So when you say that the headlights is N+, so what does that mean? And
so it pairs with my bike computer.
Okay.
So whenever I start an activity, I just play,
it automatically
and
turns on.
it starts blinking, or depending on the lighting condition, it may stay solid. The headlight itself actually have a ambient light sensor, but I basically make it so that it's being controlled by the ambient light sensor of my Garmin Edge 530 bike computer.
Okay.
And then I got the S-Works Power with Mirror saddle.
Yeah.
I got this saddle because I have a back problem, and that doesn't allow me to stay on a bike for a long time without getting back sore. And so I was hoping that these will actually allow me to ride longer. Now, is it worth the $450 retail price? I don't know, but I think it's one of the most comfortable saddle I've ever put my ass on. So yeah, I like it.
So it solves your problem, your back pain?
It doesn't. I mean, I still get back sore after a while, but it allows me to ride a little bit longer. Okay, for me that's worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And moving on to the wheels, NV SES 45 AR.
AR, yeah, all road.
Right.
Yep.
I have the 5.6 SES. I didn't get the AR because the rims are wider that you mentioned earlier, right?
Yep.
I don't need wide tires. These are 28, right?
This is 28, but they measure 30 across.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you find these tires, and why NVs?
Why NVs? I was deciding between NVs and Zeb actually. I think it was during the pandemic. It was 2020 when I got these. Why these? I like wider rims. They just allow you to have like a lower tire pressure, and it's a more comfortable ride.
So I'm going to assume it's tubeless.
Yeah, I run tubeless.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Schwalbe Pro ones, right?
Schwalbe Pro One tubeless.
Okay. And you have this device on the valve. You said it is a tire pressure monitor.
Yeah, it's made by Quad. It's called Tire Wiz. And again, the reason why I had them there, it's because initially when I got these MV, and when I tried to set up as tubeless, and I was like losing air pretty quickly, and I was trying to determine how well it's holding air, and I didn't want to keep using my digital pressure gauge, because each time you use it, right, you lose a little bit of air. Sometimes you lose more than others, and I want a way for me to tell the tire pressure without losing air. So these allow me to do that.
How does it work?
It actually transmits signal via Bluetooth and N+.
So you see it on your...
Yeah, and I actually install an app that tells me the tire pressure.
There's so much data going on. You've got the headlight connected to the cycling computer. You've got this tire pressure.
It is true. I got power meter too. Power meter, yeah, it is true.
So how much air do you lose? Overnight or
in the beginning, it was losing quite a bit, but I've got it to the point where it's losing about 0.1 to 0.2 psi per hour.
Okay.
That's the best I ever got with these these MV rims and the Schwabe Pro 1 tubeless.
Don't you? I don't know, man. It looks like it's bothering me that there's a monitor there. It looks heavy.
I know, it sticks out a lot.
Yeah, it sticks out.
So this wheel is actually not balanced, right? If you put the bike on a stand, when you spin the wheel, you can see it kind of vibrating. Yeah, so it's not balanced.
Wow.
Yeah, but if I try to balance it, I'm adding more weight to the bike, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay, and then this is a Dura Ace 12-speed, the newest one, with a Quack D4 power meter and a Wahoo speed play.
Yep.
First question is why the 12-speed? Do you need it? And how do you find it?
So the bike came with a Ultegra 11-speed Di2. I was having tons of problem with the rotor rubbing against the pad, the disc brake. Okay, I hate the sound when it goes ching, 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 ching. Oh, that would drive me nuts. You know, like after just a short break and you can hear it. Or if I'm riding out of the saddle, I can hear it as well. It was driving me nuts. So when Shimano released the 12-speed group set, they claimed that the spacing between the pad and the rotors increased by, I think, 10%. It's not much, but a little bit helps, right? So this is actually a lot better now. Yeah. So I'm hearing less disrupt. But is it worth the $4,000 upgrade to a Dura Ace 12-speed? Maybe not. Okay. But that was driving me nuts. Yeah.
Could it be maybe just that your rotors were warping or it's not straight? That's why it was
No, I even got brand new like Dura Ace rotors in there, and eventually the rotor will warp.
Right.
There's no getting around the fact that the rotor will get warped eventually. Okay.
Wow.
And then you try to straighten it, and and then you still hear it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the reason for the Dura Ace.
That's the main reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Quack D4. I was telling you that we almost have a very identical setup. So I also have the Quack D4.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it after getting it because I'm a DIY guy and I find it a very huge problem removing that bolt if I want to remove the crankset. Unlike the Shimano one, it's very easy, right?
Yep.
2 Allen keys, 2 bolts on the non-drive side and just a cap. How do you remove this? Because I need education. I can't do that. It's really hard.
First, you need a wrench with a pretty long lever, right? Okay, you get a lot of leverage, and you gotta basically lock down the other side of the crank arm onto, like for me, for example, I use the bottom, a little space between the bottom of my shelf, utility shelf, and basically lock down that crank arm so that it doesn't move, and then just crank it as hard as you can. Okay.
Yeah, and Wahoo speed plays. How do you find speed plays? I've ever since I started cycling, I've been on Shimanos. I've never tried Look.
Yeah.
Wahoo. Back then it wasn't called Wahoo, right? It was
Speed Play.
Speed Plays, right?
Yeah.
Have you tried Shimanos and comparison between these two kind of
So
systems?
I can't really compare because I've never tried Shimano road pedals. I've tried the Shimano mountain, the SPD.
SPDs,
I've tried that, but I've never tried the SPD SL. And so these are actually my first and only road pedals I've tried. And I like the fact that the engagement is dual-sided. You know, the pedal is the lollipop pedal is dual-sided. Pretty easy to clip in and clip out. But there are some, even when they were under the Speedplay brand, the pedals require routine maintenance. You need to get some kind of grease gun to replace the grease in the pedal.
So that it can rotate smoothly, is it?
So that it doesn't spin too quickly.
Oh, okay.
When there isn't enough grease in there, if you spin the pedal, it will just go on for several revolutions before it stops. Yeah. So if you have enough good grease in there, it should not spin more than a revolution.
But okay. I thought if you have it spinning, it'll be better. It means it's smooth and.
Well, that means it's not. At least that's what Speedplay wants you to do, to basically fill it with grease. And another problem I have with the Speedplay cleat is they do creak. I have a creaking problem that took me a year to figure out. I mean, I took the bike to bike shops. I'm not going to name which one because they couldn't figure it out. And it took me a year to find out. And finally, it was the cleat. And so the Speedplay provides, well, not provide, but you have to buy a dry lube. They're supposed to lubricate the cleat, and that will usually stop the creaking, but mine didn't. The one thing that worked for me is tri-flow. It's another kind of dry loop, just like a few drops in the cleat. That stops the creaking for several months.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think final wrap up is on the bike is how do you find this Venge compared to the bikes that you own, like the SL5 and the Cervelo? Anything that you don't like? And pros?
Yeah, I don't like how Specialized does the bolt for the
seat post?
Seat post wedge. Yeah.
Just like the SL6.
Yeah, because the bolt is exposed, it's on top, and I sweat a lot. And sweat gets stuck in there and it corrodes the bolt. And I actually replaced this. So my solution is actually to get electrical tape, cut into a shape, and then just tape it on there. It's like really cheap solution, and it actually works.
Yeah. So I actually learned that from one of the guys I interviewed. He taught me about that. I was asking him, why do you put electrical tape? And it was just exactly what you've explained. And from then on, I copied him and I put that on. I'm not a very sweaty guy, so for me it's fine. But I had an issue which might sound like a broken record when I SL6 on that bolt. I think I rounded it and I needed a replacement, but I couldn't find it, so I got it from the US. And I have to thank you because you bought me spacers that I couldn't get in Singapore. I don't know why. Does it come with the frame? I don't know. Nobody's selling that.
So when you got your frame, was it brand new?
No, secondhand.
Okay, so the previous owner never gave you the...
Well, he promised to send it to me, but she didn't.
Oh, okay. Alright.
So I needed that you know, the Venge, the stem has that cover, right?
Yep.
Just like the SL7. So I reached out to you. I'm like, you probably can get it from me from the US because I got my bolt, the SL6 seat post from the US, and the shipping was 5, 10 times, 20 times more expensive than the bolt itself. So where did you get that spacer kit? Because I can't get it here in Singapore.
Yeah, so I tried to get Specialized to send it to me for free, but they refused because they said, you know, hey, you can still purchase this online. So if it's something that you can't find anywhere online, they probably will send it to me for free. But they said, you know, hey, this particular website, they do sell it, they have it in stock. So they pointed me to the site and I purchased it. Yeah, it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you again for that.
Okay, you're welcome.
Last question. Also, any cons, things that you don't like about the bike, besides the seat post being exposed?
I can't say there's anything I don't like. With the internal routing, it does make traveling with the bike, I think, a little bit more challenging. You have to get a bike case that allows you not to remove the handlebar. So I actually travel here with the Cyclone Aero Comfort 3.0 TSA. So that one allows you to basically keep the bar as is, but I do have to come up, well, my teammate had an invention where you use the PVC pipes, and you basically put a bunch of pieces together. It will basically prevent the bars from being pushed in, or the shifters from being pushed in.
How does that work? So you put it into the bike bag?
Yeah.
So you can't compress, right?
Yeah, so the I'll show you a photo later.
Yeah, we'll slot it in here.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, last question that people like to ask me. Okay, 2 more questions from me. Thoughts about OSPW and bike fitting. Do you get a bike fit since you had back problems, right?
Yeah. So OSPW, I don't see a need for that. I mean, if you have the money to spend, I don't see why not. And that's your choice. I don't care.
Do people in the US have OSPWs? Like
yeah,
a lot of them have them.
I won't say a lot. Occasionally I see it, but I won't say it's very popular. Yeah.
Okay. And what was my other question? Bike fitting.
Yeah.
Did you go for one?
Yeah, I probably should get one. I really probably should get one soon, because you know I'm 50 now. All right, and my last bike fit was probably when I got the tarmac. That was 2015. That was 7 years ago. Wow. And so my flexibility probably is different now, but maybe not as flexible as before. Yeah. So, but I do believe in bike fit. Okay. I saw, just on riding this morning on TMCR, I saw a few people that I don't know if they have gone through a bike fit before. They look like they could go for a bike fit. Yeah. The legs were wobbling, and opening too wide. Just a few things that I saw this morning. Yeah.
Okay. But don't you think this all could be done at home?
It's possible you can do it at home.
Yeah.
If you have, it would be challenging to do if you don't have an indoor bike trainer for you to mount your bike on. I mean, if you make an adjustment, then you have to ride outside and you come back again. So if you have a trainer, you can mount it there and you can make an adjustment. That would be easier. So it's possible. Right. I mean, if you know how to, if you make one change here and how it affects others. Yeah.
Okay. Last question before we move on to the Q&A is what is your attire? What do you your shoes, helmet?
So all this is our team kit. So Audi was the title sponsor.
It's a Castelli jersey?
Castelli. So Castelli we have been using Castelli jersey since forever. Yeah.
And helmet, shades,
so this is like the Specialized S-Works Evade 2.
You wanted to get the latest one, right?
Yeah. So I wanted to get, in the US, right, Specialized, they do sell the helmet in the classic fit and the round fit, which used to be called the Asia fit or Asian fit. But they don't market the Asian fit or round fit in the US. I complained to Specialized and they said no, they're not going to market it here. And they just told me, if you want to buy, you have to go to Asia. So
you have to go to Asia to get an Asia
but
fit.
Thanks to your contact, Anders, and I guess he works at the Specialized Bukit Paso store. And he was able to hold one for me, and it was the S-Works Prevail 3, and it fit me like a glove, the round fit.
How come you don't have it here today?
I didn't want to carry two helmets with me when I was crossing in JB to Singapore.
Oh, so it's with you in JB right
now?
Yeah,
I left it in JB because I was trying to make sure that I don't put too much stuff in my backpack. It was already like a 15-pound bag, and I wasn't familiar with the route. I actually accidentally got onto the expressway after I crossed the causeway, and that there was so a nervous moment there. I was like, oh shit, where am I? Because once you get on that ramp, it's like one way, you can't turn back because cars are coming that way. So I pulled up to the shoulder. And I spoke to a few motorcyclists who were resting there, and so they say, "Oh, there's like an exit coming right up." And so I guess I took the Turf Club Road exit. Yeah.
Okay. So I have the Evade too. So I went and I spoke to Anders at Bukit Paso. I tried on the Evade.
Yeah.
Evade, you got the Prevail, right?
I had the Prevail 3.
I think I tried both, but somehow it doesn't look good on me. It looks like a mushroom. Like
Which one? The Prevail?
Both. Yeah.
The new Evade 3 I think it's actually measurably longer than Evade 2. And so did you try on the round fit or the regular fit?
Probably the Asian fit.
The Asian fit, okay. I can't speak of the classic fit because I tried on the classic fit in Seattle and it was actually narrower than my Evade 2. So Specialized changed the sizing for the Evade 3 and Prevail 3 so that it's actually narrower than before.
Yep.
And I tried it and it was kind of pinching against the side of my head because I have a pretty big round head. Yeah.
All right, okay. And on to shades and shoes?
This is my favorite. This is the Oakley Jawbreakers with the photochromic lens. Ooh. This allows me to ride in most conditions except when it's really, really bright.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in changing condition, these are the best.
Does it take a long time for it to change, the transition?
Yeah, slowly transition, but it doesn't take too long.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have two Jawbreakers because it fits my head and I like the design of it.
The Jawbreakers actually also come with the Asian fit.
Yes.
You know that, right?
Yeah. I probably got the Asian fit.
Yeah, because the bridge itself is actually, they raised it.
Yeah. And shoes, these are the S-Works.
This is the SW7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like them or?
Yeah, they are actually more comfortable than a S-Works 6. I had the S-Works 6 road shoes. Now they are coming. They have like different like Torch. Gosh, I don't even know all the names now.
I think Torch is the more of the middle entry or beginning entry for the road shoes. I think it's a bit heavier.
Yeah, I don't know. So they're coming with so many different names. I don't even know. So I only know I'm familiar with the S-Works 6, which I had, and it's a little bit more narrow up front. So this one has more leg room. I'm sorry, toe room.
Right.
Okay. So it doesn't pinch against the side of my foot. Yeah.
Right. I actually got a new pair of shoes today. I have the Vent, S-Works Vent, but it was not my size. So I was like ill-fitted on that shoe for the past 6 months.
Yeah.
I got a new. Have you heard of Bond?
Yeah.
I got a Bond. I can't even remember.
Isn't it an Aussie brand?
I think it's an Aussie brand. They do
Okay.
skates, inline skating. So it's like a one-piece monocoque carbon at the bottom.
Yeah.
I've yet to try it. I'm probably going to try it tomorrow. I hope it's not too stiff, but it looks extremely stiff. That's the reason why I wanted it.
I think I saw a photo. Were they baking that shoe?
Yes.
Okay.
They're baking it, so I think it's to adjust the only thing they could
The
adjust.
insole?
Yeah, the insole, and I think if it's too tight for some people, by baking it softens the carbon, and when you stand on it, it kind of pushes it out a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, I baked it, but I don't know if it made any difference. I'll probably know tomorrow. Before I start the IG questions, I have one more question for you, which is the prices of bikes, more so of Specialized.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a price difference in Singapore and the US? Is US any cheaper?
I personally have not done any comparison, so I can't say. But a few bicycle items that I've looked at, they are definitely pricier in Singapore.
Oh.
Yeah.
What,
For
like-
example, the Wahoo Speedplay cleats, they are a lot more expensive here than in the US. I think they cost US dollars, about at least $30 more.
$30, that's a lot.
Yeah, I think $30 more. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Because I had to buy one of those the cover,
Yep.
the cleat cover, because I lost one this morning while doing TMCR.
Yeah.
And so I went to Entro, and then I got a set of the cover. Originally, I was going to buy the cleat because if they were selling it like US retail price, I would have purchased the cleat, which comes with the cover, right?
Yeah.
But then there were so much more, so I actually had to make a decision. So I decided just to buy the cover instead, which is probably a few dollars more than the US retail.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the IG Q&A. If you guys want to ask questions, you can follow me on Instagram and submit it via my Insta story. Changren, the first question from your Discord, I would like to call them online pen pal.
Okay.
Josh, same frame and wheels as me.
Yeah.
When are we racing? As a disclaimer, I don't race. I have very weak legs. Do you do a lot of racing in the US?
I'm one of the slowest category Cat 4 racers you ever find. Okay, and Cat 4 is basically almost the lowest level. When you start racing, you start at Cat 5, and then you go Cat 4, 3, 2, 1, right, and then you can do the pros. And so I'm a Cat 4, and I like to joke that I'm a Cat 4 for life. Okay.
Okay. How do you progress on to 3, 2, and how do you move up?
So to go from 5 to 4 is just racing experience. So you have to do, like, if you can do a number of races, or if you actually win them. If you are winning them, then you actually go up quicker.
Okay, so you gotta win
So
races.
a point system. So from 4 to 3, you have to gain a certain amount of points in order to progress.
Yeah.
You gain points by finishing higher. It depends on the number of participants in the race. So sometimes you get points for finishing top 6. Sometimes if you finish in top 4, you finish in like 4, you may not get a single point because there are not enough participants.
Did you come to Singapore just to be interviewed by me?
No, that would have been a great story, right? Just
Yeah.
fly all the way, right?
From the
Carrying my
US.
bike. Oh man, no.
Why the Venge Pro and not the Venge?
Why the Venge Pro, not the Venge?
Is there a different Venge or is just the Venge Pro
No,
and
I
then the
think
S-Works?
when Specialized came out with the Venge, it was either the S-Works or the Venge Pro. There isn't another model, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Right, so
Yeah.
just Venge Pro and the S-Works Venge.
Correct.
Can you please provide your feedback on your wheels, the NV45?
Okay. So these, the bike came with Specialized, I guess Cervelo CL50. I had problem with the wheels being too twitchy. Even though I'm not a light, I'm a pretty heavy rider. I probably weigh, like, depending on the season, I weigh probably about 190 pounds. These are 84 kilos. And when there's like a crosswind, the front end would twitch. And I hated that, especially when I'm going to a fast descent and the front end is twitching. It kind of freaks me out. So I kind of lost confidence in those rims. And that's a bad thing when you're racing.
Right.
Yeah, so I decided to check these MVs out. and I read a lot of good things about how they perform when there's a pretty strong crosswind, and they actually are.
And this is with the NV alloy hubs, right?
Yeah,
it has a very nice sound to it. I like it.
I like loud clicking hubs.
Yeah.
There are people who don't, but I love it because you know, when you're coasting past someone, right, and you want them to be aware of where you are, you just coast, and then it starts clicking. They know you're there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like my little bell.
Yes. How grippy are the Schwalbe? So these are the Schwalbe Pro 1?
Pro 1 tubeless.
Okay.
These are extremely grippy. I like these, but I can only use it for like one season, and then they're done for. Yeah, so one season meaning I get probably less than 3,000 miles on this. Yeah.
And then it just rounds out, just flattens out.
Yeah, usually naturally the real tire one gets worn more, right?
Yeah.
Because the weight, weighting it down more, and so yeah, so they really just last like one season.
Are you stuck with Schwalbes, or do you try other tires?
I don't know. I like the Schwalbe, so I haven't thought about trying another. They work pretty well tubeless, and I have a lot of punctures in the real tire. This is probably my 6th puncture in this tire.
And the tubeless works?
They're tubeless, and every single time the sealant has sealed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the tire pressure that you run?
68.5 psi at the back and 67 in front.
And how do you tell what tire pressure you need?
I use the Silka. You know Silka, the brand? Silka has a tire pressure calculator. So you input your weight, your bike weight, your gear weight, total weight, right? And then the tire width, and the road condition, and the speed you're going, and then it will output the recommended tire pressure.
Last question. The head tube is taller than my ambitions. This head tube is extremely large, size 58, right?
Yeah, this is 58.
And does the bike size go any bigger than 58?
I think that's a 60.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you go? How did you know 58 was the size for you?
No, my previous Tarmac SL5 was the 58.
But they always say that if you get a aero frame, you usually got downsized by one size because that it's much more aggressive. Do you think that's the case?
I don't know. It seems okay. It seems to work okay for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your stem length is 100?
Stem is 100, correct, and the bar is 42 centimeter. Yeah.
Okay. That's all the questions that I have. Anything else that you would like to add on to the viewers?
No.
Okay. So thank you once again for coming. Have a safe trip back. I don't know when are you going back?
I'm actually riding back to JB tomorrow. Hopefully I won't get on the expressway by mistake again. Yep, and hopefully I survive that portion in JB because, you know, it's pretty sketchy there.
Yeah.
And so, but I'll be back here again on the 30th because I spent the last few days in Singapore before going back to Seattle.
Okay. I don't know if you could catch up for a ride.
We should.
Yeah, we should. If not, you come back quite often, right?
Yeah. So now that COVID has kind of, I guess, becoming like a flu.
Yeah.
Maybe. And yeah, probably will be an annual trip.
Yeah. All right, that's the end, man.
All right, thanks for inviting me.
No problem.